Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight.
Let's turn to the Spotlight section, and it is all about Android Accessibility Suite 15, or specifically in our context, I think, TalkBack 15. And this is quite an exciting update. Warren, do you want to kick us off with this?
It's a very monumental upgrade of TalkBack. And frankly, I think I would like all of us to talk about our TalkBack journeys. All of us have been here. And I think that for me, though, I want to go back to, I think, the other first monumental change that we saw with TalkBack. And I think that would be TalkBack 9X, right? And do you remember that thing when it first got introduced, the multi-finger? I think
Not
that was 9X, or was it 8X?
It was 9, because it was taken away from me. Do you remember? I had it on 9.0 on my OnePlus. And then on 9.1, they restricted it to Google and Samsung and took it away from devices they'd already rolled it out to. That is why TalkBack on my Play Store account still has a 1-star review. And you could downgrade, and then they broke your ability to downgrade in a security patch subsequently.
Because wasn't it when it was first released, you had to enable it in it was
Developer
advanced settings or developer, somewhere. And then when they took that out, then you were kind of screwed on certain
devices. They took it away. Like they literally took it away. I could not believe it. I was incensed.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, Ed. You were mad about it. And I know the reason. I was pissed off, to excuse my Espanol, but because the whole idea was that, okay, this thing was going to be as long as you have Android 11 or better, and then somehow it didn't work out that way again. And so I was a little bit mad because I think it was my Pixel 2 or one of those Pixels that was stuck on one of those, and it just didn't get that. And I was a little bit upset about that. But I think that was the first time on TalkBack that we started seeing something, if you're going to call it a huge change, that was the beginning of those. I think that for me, this has been probably the biggest change because a lot of us, or a lot of people, have been complaining about that image description, something that we've been talking about. And I remember we've all been saying that the implementation of the image description was nothing but a joke, because it's kind of funny, it will tell you medium or whatever, medium description.
It tells you how confident it is.
The confidence level. That's the word. The confidence level was medium. And it doesn't give you any information. And so hence the reason why we kind of talked about the likes of Be My Eyes, AI, and all of that were more superior. And it's just amazing to see what has happened. And so, frankly, this is probably the biggest change we ever saw in TalkBack. I think that's from my viewpoint.
The only one I would mention, and I'm not sure if it counts as an Android change rather than a TalkBack change, but it probably needs to be put in this bracket, was Oreo, when you could actually load it by yourself for the first time. It's probably worth mentioning.
Yes, definitely. That was a game changer, because I always tell this story. My friend and I and his wife went to the AT&T store here, and he got some fruit bell, turned on the voiceover, and then was telling me, why don't you turn on TalkBack? And I'm like, I can't. He said, this is why I'm telling you to switch. And so I said, well, you got me on this. And I had his wife help me turn on TalkBack. And so frankly, yes, I think that was probably the most important thing that came first with TalkBack, that ability to be able to turn on accessibility on your own without asking someone to do it, or without resetting the device. Or when you get a new device, you want to make sure you get that accessibility enabled right out of the box when you're on the setup screen. If you bypass that, then you are toast. And so yes, that was a big change, and the most important change, I think, really.
I've told this story before, but we'll move on to TalkBack 15 in a minute. But what I used to love doing when I was using iOS, and I guess I could have still done it, but I used to love going to Apple stores, turning on VoiceOver, turning on Screen Curtain, turning speech off, and making it not click. So they all think their phones. Now you now can't do that. I've tried, but it says it's in some sort of demo mode, so it won't actually let you do this. You can't make them think they have useless pieces of glass. We would wander around all the iPhones doing it. Me and Katie Gins. She would go into settings and do it because the triple click wouldn't work by default, and then I would turn on Screen Curtain, turn speech off, and stop it clicking.
Well, they finally caught up to you, and so they're not letting any spilly eyes, the coyote come in and messing up stuff.
Anyway, enough nonsense. So TalkBack 15, and I think the big thing, Warren, you've alluded to it already, is image descriptions, isn't it? Do you want to tell people what's changed?
Well, what has changed really is the fact that it utilizes that Gemini, being powered by Gemini. And you don't have to have that Gemini Advanced in order to be able to experience this. And I think what I like about it, as John will be showing us in that TalkBack highlights, though, is you actually have control on what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. And I think that's the difference. So if you want to hear something more verbose or whatever the case may be, you could do so. And if you don't, then you don't have to. And I kind of like the whole idea of how one chooses how to go about it. So I think for me, that's the key, because we don't want something that is just there for everybody and you cannot turn it off if you don't want to.
Yeah, but this is only on Pixels. If you turn off the detailed image description, you won't be able on other phones to use the describe image. So you will be just able to have the automatic descriptions.
I see. I didn't
which is
realize
the ones that will tell you a screenshot of a screenshot, low confidence. It's just basically
even this one won't be told when you use the describe image. It just will say, hey, you have to use the Gemini Advanced. Do you want to use it? If not, okay, then you go back and nothing.
That's not too good.
So hang on a sec. Let's unpack this a little bit then. Is this even for online descriptions? You need Gemini Advanced to have that? You don't.
No, sorry. No. I said the Advanced. I was going to say online descriptions. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah.
No, that's good. Because Gemini Advanced is expensive.
Yeah, it's a different thing, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're all expensive. Let's be honest. I don't think any of them come cheap. So it's just one of those things. I'm not sure if Google had not given it to me because I got that 9 Pro XL, I'm not sure that I would have actually plopped down $20 a month. That's too much moolah. We'll see what happens at the end of the year when mine runs out, whether it's something I'm going to be using or not. Frankly, I've not been using it, so I may not be missing it.
I mean, we're going to talk about that more in TalkBack highlights, but other interesting features. You've got a punctuation level toggle now, haven't you? Which is a bit more precise than we had previously.
Yeah,
John?
A little bit more. It used to be on or off. Now you have some punctuation, most punctuation, and Green knows better than I. What's the other option?
All punctuation, but no non-punctuation.
Yeah.
So basically, we have everything like all, some, most, but we don't have none. For someone who doesn't want to hear it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what mine is on, but I don't hear.
Yeah, mine is on some, and I don't
know.
think I ever hear.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear punctuations.
Yeah, they might have just named them not correctly, which is something that happens with TalkBack.
May this be the none?
It happens all the time.
I mean, the test would be an email address, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Is the thing.
Yeah, no, it never says add. Yeah, it just says send mail, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, though, I've never heard it, mentioning punctuations. For me, I think probably if there's something or a situation where it mentions a punctuation, I would notice that mainly like on a web page, and especially if you happen to be using Vocalizer for some reason. And this has been a long-standing problem with Vocalizer. So I don't know. I'll need to be more observant next time I'm using my phone, see if I hear anything, and then I'm going to check the default level of my punctuations because I've never customized it.
Minor correction. The reason Vocalizer is making the punctuation come out is because TalkBack is hard-coded for Google Speech Services. And in that case, it's setting the punctuation to get the right pauses in place. So that's why you're hearing that.
Yeah, and it's so annoying. And it only, like I said, it does that only on the web.
I can see it in Gmail. That's why I mentioned that. When I use Vocalizer in Gmail, for example, you can see it where it's added commas in places to get the right pausing when it's representing messages in a mailbox list. It's like Google gives you third-party TTS support, but TalkBack and everything is hard-coded for Google Speech.
Yeah, I noticed that there are also is some differences when you're, I think when you're using, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're doing proofreading and it will only spell out the word that you're going to correct if you're using Google Speech Services, not third-party TTS engines.
Is it still the same with 15 also? I didn't try it, but that's not the case, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because I use Google TTS, but I know at one point that's how it was. I don't know if it still is.
I don't find myself spell checking or proofreading my work most of the time. So this is something I'll try to see what I observe.
Another thing that's changed, and this has been brought up, because this has been in the beta for Android 15, this feature, and it's been brought up on the email list, if you follow that, is that you could now, some people like this, some people don't, but read from next item is now read from current item. I'm a fan of this change. Some people are not, though.
Yeah, I'm also supporting this one. This is really a good change.
I'm a huge lover of this feature because, frankly, this whole read from, well, they could implement it if they want, someone wants to just read from next item. But I think for me, once I find where I want to start my reading, and even if it started by saying a few words, I just stop and then just invoke that read from here, and it just reads it for me. So it's not like it's going to take me a minute to get to doing what I want. So I really like that feature because, and then to add to that, I think we've mentioned this, John, probably in one of our episodes, the ability to pause that reading and then commence that reading again or resume that reading again from where I paused it. Because prior to that, when you did that and you restarted reading and it starts and it just stops, and I was just kind of a little bit upset about that. But now that is
just to be more specific, the default gesture of tapping with 2 fingers to pause and resume speech, it would pause it, and then when you would do it again to resume it, it would just play the current item and it wouldn't continue to go item from item to item if you had continuous reading enabled. So yeah, that is a good change.
I like that.
And just to unpack that a little bit and try and explain why it was apparently controversial, was that what it used to do, like if you tapped an area on the screen and TalkBack said something, when you invoked what would essentially be a read to end gesture, read from next item or whatever, TalkBack wouldn't voice what it had previously voiced. That is what has annoyed some people. So they think if I've heard TalkBack say something and I want to invoke the read to end, why do I want to hear it say it again? I suspect, the new behavior is what literally every other screen reader does. I can see potentially why on mobile it would be more annoying on Windows because you might have touched an area whereas on Windows you might just invoke a read to end. So perhaps that initial speech and that repetition is less likely to occur. But this change seems to have brought TalkBack into line with JAWS, with VoiceOver, and with NVDA. So this seems to have brought TalkBack into line with what every other screen reader does, even though those who say, hang on a minute, I've already heard TalkBack say that, why do I want to hear it saying again? It's not actually reading from where I am. But as Warren and John and Salin and people have said, this seems to be the prevailing view as to how it should work.
Now, with the screen reader on the computer, for example, Joss, I'm looking at you, and I started, let's say I do my insert down arrow or whatever, and then I hit the control key to silence speech. If I do that insert down arrow, of course, it's going to start reading from that same place that I started.
Yeah, I meant more the fundamental change, not whether it will resume or not, but the where the insert down arrow would read from. Yeah, I mean that is exactly what JAWS does, and all of the other screen readers do it. So TalkBack was unusual in not doing it.
Exactly. So that's why I'm trying to say, it's the same idea. Whether I'm doing it on my computer with a screen reader, once I hit that control, as soon as I start reading, and I do the invocation to read again, it's going to start from that same place it started. So it's not something strange that TalkBack has done, but like I said, it would be nice if they still bring back the read from next item. Just someone who doesn't want to hear that beginning again, you could skip it, but then you're skipping some stuff that is belonging to that place that you started to read when you interrupted it.
Well, I don't think that it's a big deal. Some people are trying to make a big deal about it. Yeah, it should be read from current focus. It shouldn't be read from next item, whatever. I think both are okay. It's just a matter of being used to something. When you are used to how it works, you will like it, I think, or you will, use it, no problem. So I think all of this discussion between people, if this is better or not, for me, it doesn't make serious difference. But for GShow users, if you start what is called automatic browsing, or what was with TalkBack read from next item, or now read from current focus, it will be like read from next item like the previous way of TalkBack. So it will start reading from after the cursor, so you are focusing something, it will start reading from after the focused item.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Ika. It's not something that ever kept me awake at night, to be honest. But TalkBack didn't do that, or now that it does it, it's not. I'm not bothered. Clearly, some people are, and I like it. Great that it's been fixed, and seemingly it's been fixed in favour of the majority. But it wasn't something I could particularly get excited about.
Yeah, the point is GShow users are not complaining, so I don't know why TalkBack users were so much complaining about this, but I don't think that GShow users aren't complaining, so I don't think that it will change in GShow. So yeah, we should be now just aware that it's different now between TalkBack and GShow.
I think it's because of the standard, because if you're using a screen reader on your PC, you know how it is on your, on JAWS and NVDA, and when it's equivalent TalkBack, that's what you want to have it. I don't like how it is on GShow right now. I want to have read from current items.
This is something that's kept me up at night, I'll be honest. And I'm glad it's changed. I think the biggest peeve that we had with it is that if the first item in what you want to read is a very long paragraph, then you have to sit there and wait for that paragraph to finish before you can continue the reading. Either that, or what I would do sometimes is swipe left to go back if there was an item previous, and then start continuous reading to have it go to the next item. So, I mean, for me, it's made things a lot easier, but I guess to each their own, right?
Yeah, and let's face it, if GShow changes it, they're just going to add another feature. They're not going to change that one, because GShow adds setting.
GShow already has reverse reverse, like you could have it read backwards automatically. Like if there's something that can be done, Jisho has added it as a feature.
I like that. Driving backwards. That's beautiful, though.
Yeah. Do you remember when we interviewed the guy from VoxMate? Gleb said, "Yeah, I could add some things. You can add you can add as many settings as you want, but I'm not going to because it makes the app virtually unnavigable."
Yeah.
But they're good. I mean, customizations are good. Like, okay, Jisho has gone so far, I can say, but it's good to be able to toggle everything. So it's something great.
And I think to add to what Karen said, though, sometimes we don't like changes, and or one is kind of used to doing things a certain way, and something comes through, it just breaks that routine, and it just kind of becomes annoying. And I can understand where they're coming from, but I wish, though, that we could have down the road maybe read from next item, so that someone who doesn't want that read from that focus to be what it is as default, they could choose what they want to do. So I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, I don't think they should. Although I do prefer the behavior, I don't think they should have changed it on everybody. I think they should have just added a second option. Have read from next item, and then also add read from current item. And if you want to change it, you can go change it.
Especially when we still have the read from top, you know what I mean? So if we still have read from top, we should also have read from next item.
Some other changes in TalkBack 15 worth talking about. I think we've got some new Braille commands, quite helpful ones, I think. And is it that now you can select either from where the cursor is to the top or from the cursor is to the end? I think those are the two main ones, are they? Am I right with that?
I can't speak to the Braille display commands, but that's definitely new in the Braille keyboard. Yeah,
they're the same on the display, I think.
Okay, yeah. So it is something you can now do.
Yeah, I don't know what the commands actually are, but you can do it if that's a thing you want.
Yeah, you hold on the keyboard, the Braille keyboard on screen keyboard, you can hold dots 4 and 5, and then if you swipe down with 2 fingers, it'll select to the end, and if you swipe up with 2 fingers, it'll select to the beginning. The only thing is, it says it normally when you select something with the keyboard, it will read out what's selected. This doesn't seem to do that. It just says beginning of field or end of field, but I mean, if you've swiped with 2 fingers that it's selected. So that's the only gripe I have with it, is that it doesn't read it to you, but it works.
Yeah, no, it seems like a good change to me.
A little tag on that one that John just mentioned. So probably this is something that should be fixed, maybe like in either 0.1 update or whatever, because it would be important for someone to hear what has just been selected or has not been selected, whatever the case may be. I know not everybody would want that, but it should be there in the event that one wants to hear what they've just selected. I mean, I just selected from here to the end, maybe just a few lines. I want to hear that confirmation to know indeed. It's just like if I say copy last utterance or whatever, it tells me what those or that last utterance is. So I think
even if they think it's too much to read out loud, at least say something that confirms that we've done the right thing. Like say selected to end. Yeah, like if you don't want to read everything to the end, at least say selected to end of field or something.
Yeah. It has to be that, doesn't it? Because it might be a lot of text, depending on which editor.
Yeah, exactly. But at least if it starts reading, I can interrupt it or whatever. Just like
say selected.
But either way would be fine with me, because as soon as it started reading it, I would know what was happening, and I would just interrupt it.
Yeah, but that would literally be annoying. No other screen reader would do that, I don't think. But it should say selected. Who currently has TalkBack 15? Warren, you have it, don't you?
I do have it.
Was it rolled out to you, or did you sideload it? You're not a sideloading man, are you?
Well, I don't sideload. No. So I didn't sideload. I think mine came through yesterday. Yesterday out of the blue, but earlier it wasn't on my phone until yesterday.
I was impatient, and I side-loaded mine the first day it was available.
Excellent. Karine, what did you do?
This is the first time since years, I think, that Google decides to put me in the first batch of people who get the update. So it was in the same day. I was so much surprised that this time they didn't start with the United States. They started with different countries, it seems. So my country was from them, and I received the update exactly in the same day that TalkBack 15 was released in.
Nice.
So
I think, Karine, probably the reason is because you were eating fruit again in August. You were eating the figs. And then I think another thing is that, I call you the pretty one from Lebanon. Maybe that's why. I believe that's what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure that you did something with your Google friends to make them love me, which is good.
So what you're saying, Warren, is she eats figs, so she gets TalkBack on the correct date.
Thank you very much. Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. And those two go together. You got dates, you got figs. It's a beautiful picture.
Oh my God. No, leave the dates alone.
Oh, I love those things. They're beautiful.
Saleh, do you have it? Do you have TalkBack 15? Have you put Google TalkBack on your Samsung? I don't even know.
Yeah, I got on my Samsung, and I think I was the very first one among my friends getting it. Like, I was talking to Karina, I said I received TalkBack. She said, "Really?" And after that I received it.
Kenneth
No,
Young Man.
Wait! I checked for updates after that. Maybe if I checked before, I would be
No
before
way!
you.
No way! No way! No way!
Kenneth Young Man, do you have TalkBack 15?
No, I do not. I'm still on 14. Every single other Google app has been updating this week. Chrome was updated twice, but no TalkBack yet.
No TalkBack. So I have.
So maybe there's something to this. Maybe they do roll it out according to handsomeness.
Thank you, John. Yeah, and I think because Sally's out there representing and reflecting me, and they're the pretty girl, and so we're gonna start way out there, and then we roll back home. I think that's how it is. When you catch a fish, then you roll it back home, right? Yeah.
So I have a very sad, from my perspective anyway, tale of woe with Android 15, TalkBack 15. Sorry, not Android 15. I didn't get it on the Xiaomi. Gary in the Telegram group posted it. I thought, why not? I've sideloaded TalkBack APKs before. I sideloaded it, and TalkBack wouldn't work. It wasn't that I lost speech. It was the native Android gestures that were working. So I unloaded it with the shortcut keys. You got that little message apparently flashing up saying held volume keys, TalkBack turned on, but it wasn't. I went to Play Store and uninstalled the updates. I cleared TalkBack's storage and cache, restarted the phone, and everything. And when I asked Google Gemini to load TalkBack, it said TalkBack is not available on this device. It was grayed out in accessibility settings. So the Xiaomi really didn't like that TalkBack 15 update to the extent that I couldn't even roll back. Yeah, that didn't work at all. I assume a reset will fix it. What I decided to do during the week, I didn't quite have the heart to reset the Xiaomi because now that you have two-factor authentication, it is quite a useful device. For authenticating other apps, I couldn't install G Shui either, which was random. It wouldn't show me the restricted option, as in the option to unrestrict. So when I went into app info, so something seriously got corrupted somewhere with that TalkBack 15. I have G-Show on other devices running Android 13 and above. So you go to app info, you hit the option to unrestrict it. That just wasn't showing. Very odd. But so I didn't quite have the heart to reset the Xiaomi because, as I say, I want to authenticate various of my other phones. So I used a Red Magic 7 Pro for a few days, which in some ways is an amazing phone because it has brilliant hardware, but awful software, and I just couldn't use it as a daily driver. And I thought, I have a lot of mid-ranges. I haven't had a flagship for ages. So today, as I trailed in the introduction, I went and bought a new phone, and I got a Samsung S24 Ultra, 512 gigabytes. So if you're going to sideload, I will still sideload, but bear in mind you might run into issues, and whether or not this is all Gary's fault, I'll leave it for listeners to decide.
Oh, poor Gary. I can hear Gary now, cursing off. But yeah, so let's blame it on Gary. Well, my stance when it comes to sideloading, I don't do those things. But that's kind of funny, though, that the Xiaomi would do that. That's really odd. It's absolutely odd.
But it's not that it didn't work. I couldn't roll it back and get anything to work.
That's what I mean. At least you should be able to uninstall the update that you just applied and things should go back to normal, but it just refused to go back to normal, and that's just not normal. I don't know what happened.
There were no Play Store errors, so the update does uninstall. That happens, but you just can't load TalkBack. And even though it's grayed out in settings on the screen, and even though when you're holding the volume buttons, it's not a speech issue. I did change the TTS, but it didn't make any difference. But all the native Android gestures still work. The update shows as having been uninstalled because it says update, but it just wouldn't work. It's grayed out. And like I say, Gemini, I even got Katie Kins to switch it back to Assistant. Says TalkBack is not available on this device. But it's probably gone. And as I say, something else has got corrupted because I can't unrestrict a G-Show to make that work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if yeah.
You'll have to, reset the phone once your Samsung is ready and it's running as the main, authenticator. Then I say reset that boy.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
And it could also be the cat in there. The Xiaomi. I call it the cat because I don't know that skin, that Xiaomi skin. I've never had one, but from the description, I don't think it has a very good UI. Does it?
Well, I put the other launcher on it. I mean, it's got some nice features. Like it has an IR blaster, which means you can load pretty much any remote control for any device you might own, and it will become accessible. So it has some really nice features. But it's a difficult phone, not as difficult as the Red Magic, which is a bucking bronco of a phone, really, to try and get set up. Again, nice hardware features, but tricky software. HyperOS, MIUI, as it used to be called, is marginally easier than that. But yeah, it's a tricky phone.
So I have a question for you, Ed. You say the unrestricted option wasn't there. Are you saying that the more options 3 dots in the top right corner on the app info page wasn't showing up?
Yeah, it is.
Normally where you find it.
Yeah, but it's not showing unrestricted.
Oh, so there is a menu there. Yeah. It's just when you open it, there's nothing in the menu.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, that TalkBack update did you really bad. One reason not to sideload.
Well, it might have happened on the regular update. We don't know. I'll still always sideload, but be aware that these things might happen. So either, ideally do it on a phone you don't care about. Happily, I had some other phones. Like I say, I had the various mid-ranges. I deployed the Red Magic. A Pro at the time it was released, but 2 years old now, which is interesting. But yeah, really, it's really thrown the Xiaomi for a loop.
So it's interesting that you went and got the Ultra, the big boys 512 gigs. That's really nice that you did that. So now you're going to be, entrenched in the Samsung along with John and Karen and Sally. And I think I'm just going to be the odd one out, except that, now and then John comes to my defense.
With a Pixel. Yeah. I mean, it was a good deal. I got it. There's a chain here, which sells secondhand tech, but gives you a 2-year warranty. And it's a reputable chain. I know this because when I went in, a guy was trying to sell some AirPods and the woman told them that they were fake. So she wouldn't buy them.
I love
that. They take your tech, check it for an hour, and then tell you how much they'll give you for it. I've sold stuff to them before, so he'd come back to try and sell his AirPods, and no, these are fake. So it's a reputable store, and they give you a 2-year warranty, and it was like £450 cheaper than it would have been had I bought it from Samsung. I mean that is a sad reflection, I think, of Android hardware, because as soon as you drive it off the forecourt, it depreciates in value in the way that the latest iPhone doesn't. But I won this time.
Yeah, but the good thing is that it makes it possible for you to get it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because if it didn't, then it kind of takes a little bit more lunch money out of your pocket.
So, beer money in my case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Xiaomi, I might try and recoup some of that. They're not very generous on the buying prices they offer, but nonetheless, I might try and sell the Xiaomi once it's not an authenticator phone and I've sorted that out. But yes, that was my my TalkBack 15 tale of woe. Whether you think Gary Blaine has any culpability for this, I'll leave listeners to decide, or whether it's entirely my own fault.